Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Davenport Diaries, the Scarlett Tears entries, and this is episode 1, and I think this is still season 2. And the name of this episode is Reprisal. Man, I was blown the fuck away. This episode was really good. Yo, shout out to the cast and crew, BRTV TV Productions, to the cast of this episode. You all delivered, and I was so on the edge of my seat. But first, let me apologize that this review is late. I live in Washington, D.C., and we had this really bad windstorm, and my power was out for like 2 days. So finally, I'm glad that I can finally get back to work and do what I do. But I do apologize that this review is late, but I just want to let you know I haven't forgotten about y'all, and definitely check out some of my other reviews that are going to be coming out, because I'm going to be doing them back to back to back. And then I got 3 to do tonight, and it's Sunday, so I got my work cut out for me, but hey, I'm happy. But let me go to say, man, Christina Porter, you are one bad mother. Shut your mouth. You hear me? Because you delivered in this episode. Like, we are really seeing the effects of what has happened to Fallon since she found out that she may not be a Davenport. And the fact that she is kind of going through the same type of trauma that our children have went through, meaning Raven and Julian. They both have suffered childhood trauma, and so has Fallon. And it's like everything is starting to cave in, and we're seeing Fallon in a way that we've never seen Fallon Davenport before. And my prediction of this, and I could be completely wrong, Fallon definitely is very smart, very strategic, very well put together, comes into the room and she owns it. We love that about Fallon Davenport. But then Davenport has this very emotional side, and when she gets emotional, she can get erratic in a matter of seconds. But she always has somebody by her side that helped to check her when she went too far, that person being Winston. But now that her and Winston's friendship has now waned, and they're now on opposing sides, she no longer has that person there to kind of help guide her to not go overboard. So, due to the fact that Fallon no longer has that support, Fallon is just acting out. And we really see in this episode that, yeah, Fallon is still maintaining control, but in her personal life, she's all over the place. And it opens up with her giving this entry about, her children, about her mother, and, who's her real father, and everything is just upside down. Then we see her with this new guy. His name is Daryl. Daryl is, I think, a professional boxer, so he's somewhat of a celebrity, but he's a lot younger than Fallon. And he is real cocky and very full of himself. And Fallon always says he is so damn arrogant. But a part of her likes that about him, that he's assured of him, that he's very self-assured. But it goes overboard, but then he starts, bringing up all of this stuff he read about her and her family on the internet, and she immediately was like, look, I'm not here for all that. You know what? I don't know what you got going on, but that's not what I'm here for. Stood down. All of a sudden, Daryl stood down, and I was like, they used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman. I was like, okay, baby, I see you. And then the next thing you know, he scooped up Fallon and went into the room, and they were F-U-C-K-I-N-G. You hear me? And exactly in that order. But the thing about it, he's thinking that he's, throwing it in. But no, it's Miss Fallon with the diamond center letting him know, yeah, you like this, don't you? And the next thing I know, I'm thinking, oh, boy was about to put a gun on Fallon. Oh, no. Fallon gave him the sweet cookie, and he was asking for milk afterwards. And that's exactly how it went down. So she got him whipped. And Then after they have sex, of course he's kind of feeling, Fallon. But then again, I'm very suspicious of him because the way he's coming at her is making me think he has an ulterior motive. I don't know if you guys picked that up, but I did. And he starts saying that, well, why don't we go out? You can tell me more about you and more about your family and all that. And Fallon flipped the hell out. She was like, look, Negro, I don't know what kind of game you playing, but I ain't here for that shit. All I'm here to do is to give you this diamond pussy, get you off, and I'm out the door. That's what we have here, and stop trying to make it more than what I need. I have a meeting to go to, so could you please excuse yourself and get up out my bed, because I got shit to do. And of course, Daryl, being a competitive guy, he likes that shit, so he's like, yeah, okay, fine. But then he's like, well, damn, I didn't think he was going to spaz out on me like that, damn. But, yeah, Fallon Davenport is still there. But she's going through a tough time. And she no longer has that same support that she's always had. Then we get a scene between Fallon and Winston. And, shout out to David K. Price and Dante Hensley. These two brothers came off of an awesome first season of Honest Men with Tyson Plus, a.k.a. Tyson Anthony. These guys are phenomenal, and it's so great that we have them back home with BRTV TV, playing the characters of Winston and Chadwick, and let's just say they both delivered. Delivered very well, and I was so here for it. So we get this scene between Winston and Fallon, and it is plainly obvious the friendship is completely done. Do I think they have a prospect of them developing something new with each other? Yes. But what they had, it's like kaput, because they are like on opposing sides. He pretty much meets up with Fallon, letting her know that, look, we got investors waiting, and you need to be at these meetings because Fallon is like the CEO of WinCorp, and Winston is the co-CEO. But, there's a lot of deals and things that he's negotiated, that he's set up, but Fallon ain't really been into the business because, Fallon's been all over the place. We know Fallon's issues. But then she asks him, where's my son? And he pretty much lets her know, like, look, it's kind of funny that you actually hurt the one person that actually knows where your son is. And then he kind of lets her know that, look, you think we're, hiding him? Eventually, we're going to have to figure something out because Barron is not going to rest until he finds him. This boy literally sold majority of the shares of the company to his adversary. Barron ain't going to let that shit go. So right now, it's a good situation where he's at. He's safe. But eventually, we're going to have to find out another alternative because they're not going to stop looking for him. And then, she's saying that, look, you don't have any right to do this. Like, this is my child. And he's like, oh, your child? Oh, now you mother of the year? Like, so it really went back and forth. And we come to find out that when they first started to get together, Fallon was not on good terms with her mother. She was being ignored by Darren because Darren was really doting on Jabril being the head of the company and not her. So she literally grew up alone and didn't have anyone. She literally was just to herself most of the time. Had a traumatic childhood just like her children. And Winston was that friend that she could go to that, was like a confidant, and they actually fell in love with each other. But they never consummated it. And she said that because she didn't want to ruin the friendship, so she never made that move with Winston. But then come to find out, Winston was just as much as into her too. So I'm like, So it seems to me that Christian ain't the only one that kind of likes, that kind of likes a little bit of sugar to, every now and then. So I'm like, interesting. I want to see how this is going to play out. And so we saw that go on. And pretty much he kind of like lets her know, like, you talking about you mother of the year and shit. First of all, I was holding things down while you was off going on trips with your little son and everything. The son that just practically damn near ruined your family's legacy. And, now I'm at a point now where I'm done with your bullshit. I want, if you really want your son, then you'll sign over your part of the company to me. And she's like, I'm never going to do that, and I will see my son again. And she's like, oh, really? You really think you tough shit? She's like, I ain't scared of you, Winston, because as soon as I found out about Ashton being Ulysses, I sent him over there to Christian, and they can be happy together as far as I care. I ain't scared of your ass. And all of a sudden he was like, I was like, you need to be afraid of me, Fallon. I was like, oh shit. Shit just got fucking crazy. But then they also talked about Ashton. And she was saying that, the one thing that I've never had in my whole life was love. And I found that with Ashton, and you took that away from me. And she blatantly went to the fact that, look, this was the guy that my husband was cheating on me with. You know how hard that hurt me. And out of all the men in the world, it had to be him, of all people. So she said, yeah, I took it as a betrayal, which I understand. And if anything, Fallon has every right to feel the way she feels about Ashton. But yet she still fails to understand that Ashton was just as much of a victim of Clint as she was. I mean, Clint is pretty much, the boogeyman. He has many victims. And she's still one of his victims and don't even realize it because Ashton's alive. And he just literally spun the story and just told her what she wanted to hear so she can get the hell out of his face. So she don't even know the fact that she even mentioned that to Winston. Winston's going to be on the search to find out this Ulysses because obviously Winston knows Ashton. He knows Ashton because they had that connection. So yeah, we saw that go down, and yeah, it didn't end well at all. So they are on opposing sides, and like she was in like just pretty much she was just done. I mean, it's just done on both ends. Then we get the shock. We actually get a scene where Chadwick is meeting up with Winston, and secretly he's been advising Chadwick on making deals and everything because now Chadwick is the co-CEO of Davenport. Now that Jabril is no longer CEO, Chadwick has kind of stepped into that role, but they didn't make him a full CEO. He's just only a co-CEO. So him and Winston been working together, and Winston's been helping him of how to make deals and all of that, and been even helping him to negotiate. So all of a sudden we see that there's like this camaraderie there, but then I literally lost my wig when next thing I know I saw Chadwick try to kiss Winston. I'm like, what, bitch? Oh, I knew it. Like, I think everybody kind of screamed at that part, because I'm like, Chadwick, the most homophobic dude on the planet, actually has a sweet tooth? Shit. So I was all in for it. And I was like, what? I was literally falling out. I was like, whoa. But Winston checked it. He was like, yo, bruh, not here. He's like, why is it that you're so afraid of opening yourself up? And he's literally pouring out these emotions to Winston. So we come to realize Chadwick in love with Winston. But Winston's like, no, boo-boo. We just having fun. We have a good time. But that's all it is, man. And besides, what the hell you mean you in love? You don't even love your damn self. You haven't even come to terms that you're gay. Like, dude, you're still in the closet. What makes you think we could have anything? And he's like, well, maybe if you give it a chance, you may be surprised what will happen. I'm like, Chadwick is just really in that really deep space where we can pretty much now put it together that, look, the guy who is the most homophobic usually is the one with the secret agenda, or I would say DL agenda. So because it's funny because I actually went off on some dude online just a while ago over the same damn thing. They have all these homophobic slurs to say, but it's coming from a place of emotion. And I'm like, okay, if you're not gay, then why you feeling some kind of way, huh? Why you mad? That's how I feel, you know. So I was getting that, and you know, and the funny thing is, it's great that you know they're showing this with Chadwick's character, that he's a guy that has this is a guy who has a lot of self-loathing and a lot of self-hate, and it comes out in the way he delivers himself. I mean, we kind of saw this, you know, in earlier season 2 of Davenport Diaries when we first got introduced to Chadwick, how his demeanors are, how he's always condescending, how he's always putting people down, and how he's quick to say the word faggot, like just like he brushes his teeth like it's nothing, not even really realizing that he's just, you know, he's pretty much putting his own insecurities out there and just putting them on other people. So Winston kind of got them together because at first they were going to go out to dinner, you know, have some drinks and see how the evening goes. Well, after Winston told him that, look, you need to stop with all this emotional I love you bullshit. You acting like a little bitch. I already told you what this is. You don't need to be making it more. Just play it cool. And besides, I'm not even supposed to be helping your ass, but I'm holding you down. So let's keep this cool and don't try to take it there. So all of a sudden, you know, Winston was like, so you still want to go get that drink? I'm like, I don't blame you, Winston. That was slick. But he was like, oh no, it's okay. I'll make other plans. I'm like, poor Chadwick. But then again, it's like, it serves you right, Chadwick, because boo-boo, you trying to play like you want to be in love, but yet you can't even face your truth and be out and open with your shit, but you want to kind of play this behind closed doors type shit, but then yet you're very homophobic to other gay men. And as a matter of fact, didn't you just kill a gay man, you know, on that Doomsday episode? And you really attacked him because he's gay, but mainly because he was reading the fuck out of you? Okay. Oh yeah, but I'm gonna bring that up. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about that a little bit more later. But so after Winston leaves, Chadwick picks up the phone and he calls somebody and he's like, yeah, you can come through. And I'm like, who the fuck you talking to, Chadwick? So you couldn't get plan A, so you call plan B. Who's plan B? We're gonna find that out. So let's keep this part moving. Alright, so okay, talked about that, So then we get a scene with Ian and Christian. Now, we all know Ian, that's Baron's little little cat boy. Well, let's just say, the last time we saw Ian was getting real bold and was getting real smug and said that he was going to tell Tessa about him and Baron's relationship and how Baron liked him to wear these ass chaps and call him daddy. He was going to tell everything. Well, he, along with Julian, got shot, as we saw in the Doomsday episode. We see that now he's healed up. He's still kind of weak, but he's in good health, and he went to go see Christian. And we also know that him and Christian used to mess around, you know. So, and Baron actually knows about this, but Christian doesn't know that Baron knows, and Christian definitely don't know about Baron. That both of y'all pretty much sharing holes. Anyway, so he comes to visit Christian, and you know, he's saying that, you know, I'm so happy that I'm still alive. I was on a dark path, and I just want to move on and live better and be better. And, you know, next thing you know, he tried to put moves on Christian, and Christian shuts him down because Christian is still hungry for Miss Fallon Davenport. Yes, he is, y'all. He hungry. I'm like, he got some of that diamond puss, and he has been lost and turned out like Olivia, baby. So I'm just like, okay, he turned him down because we already know that the two of them were getting down in the earlier part of season 2 in Davenport Diaries, and he even shut down Ian. As fine as Ian's ass is, he turned that down, and he's like, oh, okay, you know. And then, like, all of a sudden, you know, Christian lets him know that he's met an old friend and there's something there and he wants to see where it is. I'm like, Christian. It just tickled me. And then Ian says, oh, yes, but I'm talking to somebody, too. You know, he's the right kind of guy. he's a man that's in control. He's very successful. He takes me out. He buys me things. He really cares about me. This guy is really special, and I've never met anybody like him. And he's very generous, and he's funny. And I'm like, I wonder who this man that you're talking about. But we're gonna find out. And man, did it make my eyes get big, because I was like, whoa. But yeah, that was all good and everything. So yeah, so we pretty much saw that went on with them. Okay, let's see here. So then afterwards, we get a scene with Fallon and Chadwick. Pretty much, after she done had her little fun with Daryl, play ball. After she done had fun with Daryl, she goes down to the office, because she knows that there was a meeting, but the meeting was already done because Winston just had the meeting without Fallon and was just like, the hell with her. So Fallon shows up, she's like, I know there was a meeting, and she runs into Chadwick. And Chad was like, oh, the meeting's over, darling. We didn't already had that meeting. And she says that and she says, like, well, why wasn't I called? She says, I did call. And whoever your secretary is was like, oh, you're too busy and you were not to be disturbed. So we went ahead and handled business while you were not being disturbed. So he was just kind of throwing it back at her. And she's like, and she says, so we already had a meeting with Mr. Corey and everything is cool. So... and like she was like, oh, so you really think you're feeling yourself because you got your little new position, little co-CEO? You're like, boy, you ain't nothing, because you will never be Jabril. And he's like, oh, yeah, Jabril, the one, and you said that if my brother didn't step down, you won't be nowhere near as where you are at this point. And he says, well, actually, your brother didn't step down. He was thrown out, and your son, your adorable son, literally sold majority of the shares to Darren's adversary. So really, Fallon, you really ain't no position to argue, honey. So it was like they were matching wits. And then she begins to go deep. She was like, oh, yeah, you just like your father. You want to play with your big boys, but you really don't know how to swim with the sharks. Your father did have some things going for him, but he couldn't swim with the sharks. And here it is, y'all just been trying to take everything from my family, and you want to be us, but you never will be. And all of this shit. So, and she's saying that, and she's saying, well, and like Chadwick says that, Fallon, I'm not threatened by you. I actually have good counsel now. I actually have people working with me, and as far as I'm kept, your business partner has got it more together than you. And she's like, oh, Winston? Oh, boo-boo, don't fall for that shit, because Winston will leave your ass for dead, and walked up out of there. And I'm like, and we kind of see that damn Chadwick felt some kind of way about that. I'm like, She may not know that something going on between you and Winston, but she definitely know that you thinking that Winston gonna be on your team, you sadly mistaken. Winston got a different agenda than you think. So then we see that Winston takes himself all the way to New York to knock on Christian's door. And he was like, what's going on? And he's like, I need to talk to you. And all of a sudden, Christian was like, yo, aren't you that kid that used to always be following behind Mr. Davenport? You always used to be hiding in the trees and stuff, and we'd be like, oh, there you go, there you go. What the hell do you want? I was like, damn, Christian. And then Winston was like, oh, yeah, I remember you, too. You the one that your girl broke up with, and you was running around the city crying like a little bitch. I was like, damn, Winston. Oh, they were just squaring up like shit. And he was like, so they pretty much go back and forth, and he's asking about, what about Ashton? No, you mean Ulysses? Like, I mean, Ashton, I'm trying to find Ulysses because I'm trying to get some information. And he's like, well, hey, he's been gone here for months. I don't know where he's at right now. So, but he says, and then of course they kind of match wits or whatever. And, Christian's like, yo, I know I got Southern hospitality, but you ever come at me with some disrespectful shit, I will handle you. And he's like, see, the difference between you and me, Christian, I don't fight with these. I fight with this. And you'll be seeing me again. And flipped and walked up out of there. I was like, damn, okay. So, Christian feels some kind of way. So what does he do? He calls Fallon. And he's like, yeah, your boy came up in here knocking on my door. What the hell's going on? And Fallon's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He's like, look, I need to see you. He's like, well, you just need to tell me what's going on. He's like, look, I'll tell you, but I need to tell you this in person. I'm not telling you this shit over the phone. And she's like, okay, all right, fine. Like, he's like, well, come to my place because we definitely need to talk. And I just knew Christian wanted to get her ass there because Christian wants some more of that diamond puss. So she finally gets up there, and he's, so pretty much we see that Fallon and Christian are finally together. And he's saying that, I've been calling you, you ain't been answering my calls and all this shit. She's like, well, first of all, why did you bring me up here to talk about something that you could have talked to me on the phone, but here it is, you dragged me all the way to New York City to tell me something. So what is it? What is it, Christian? And I'm like, yeah, and you willfully drove up to New York City to see what Christian had to say. It works two ways, baby. And he talks about I wish that Winston came knocking on his door, asking about Ashton, and all this shit. And I'm saying, like, you listen. So I'm like, yeah, I mentioned it to him. I'm not surprised he wouldn't come up here because he's very thorough, but I didn't think he was going to act that damn fast. And, I'm like, yeah, he in love with Ashton, and he ain't going to never let that go. And then all of a sudden, he was like, well, again, why didn't you answer my phone calls? And she's like, well, because obviously you was busy with Ulysses, so I let you and Ulysses do what y'all was going to do. I mean, after all, I ain't dealing with these faggots any damn way. I'm done with this shit. And Christian, like, look, you called me a faggot one time, I let that shit slide, but don't ever think you're going to ever call me a faggot in my face, and I'm going to let you do it. You better fall back with that bullshit. And it's like, oh, the one who actually was sleeping, the one that was sleeping with Ulysses and everything, and then he was like, well, first of all, you want to talk all this faggot shit. I wasn't a faggot when I was up inside of you, now was I? I was like, ooh, all right, Christian. Yeah, you weren't, because you was laying it down on Fallon. I can say that, she got the diamond push, but Christian got some diamond D. Because they matching. So, they go back and forth, and eventually, she said, yeah, I know you miss me. How it feel, huh? How it feel? And then, he starts kissing up on Fallon's neck. Fallon trying to resist it, and he gets to the point, he's like, Fallon, shut the fuck up. And just started to get it, and she's like, I was like, ooh. See, Daryl ain't even got that pull with Fallon. Christian, that's going to be some shit. And she was saying that I'm not trying to do this because you were with my brother. This is going to be bad, if we get together. This is not cool. But he's like, I don't care. My heart is telling me how I feel. And I know you feel the same way. And he just went and took it. And I'm like, see, yeah, Christian wanted your ass back up there because Christian wanted some more of that diamond. He wanted some more of that diamond puss. And you came up there because you wanted the diamond D. So, hey, 2 diamonds in the rough. Ooh, so then we get a playback. Christian is having a nightmare, and it's a nightmare over the Doomsday Night, at the party when him and Jordan, a.k.a. Liberace, was having that back and forth. Now, I call him Liberace not because he's effeminate. That's not why I'm doing that. I'm calling him Liberace because for those of y'all remember that, if y'all remember some of the episodes back with Davenport Diaries when Jordan had sex with Julian up in Kat's office, the next day he had this avant-garde jacket he came to work with because Julian broke that cherry baby, and she had her legs up in the air for dear life. So she got delivered by Julian, and she came to work the next day with this really avant jacket, like she was about to give a piano concerto or was about to, play the violin or some shit. I'm like, because she wasn't dressing like that before, but, I mean, Julian wasn't dressed like that before, but then, all of a sudden, he comes out in this very, avant-garde jacket like he's about to do a concert. I'm like, damn, bitch, you giving shows I could get in the D. What the hell? I had so much fun with that. And he's getting the playback when when they was having that discussion, when pretty much where Jordan let him know that he was a defective Davenport because he's not even quarter of the man of Baron and he's not even half the man of Jabril, and it got into it where he kind of choked out Jordan, but then he literally picked him up and threw him over the balcony, and which killed him instantly. He's having nightmares about it because it's like what Jordan said to him that night is actually the reality that Chadwick is living. He's seeing for himself he is a defective Davenport because even though he's working as hard and even though he has proven himself, they never will give him the status that he feels he deserves. They will never see him as an equal Davenport as like Baron will never see him as an equal Davenport as he does Jabril and Fallon. And he's beside himself because of that. And then also Julian the same way. Well, even before so. So he's playing all of this back in his mind, and then all of a sudden he wakes up from the nightmare. Guess who the fuck he laid up with? That motherfucker Ian. So Ian is now in love with Chadwick, Baron's nephew. And even though Ian says he's over that shit, I don't think he is. Because now he's messing with another Davenport that is closeted. And trust me, we've seen how Ian was with Baron. You try to play this shit with Chadwick, you might end up dead, bitch. So I would say tread lightly. Tread lightly, baby. But he's voicing, but then we see that Chadwick is literally talking to Ian, and he's saying that, I never feel good enough. It's like I work just as hard, but they always see me as a less than. And then he's saying, I really am ready to take down Fallon. And, Ian was like, because he was saying that, I just can't sleep. And because that's what woke him up. That's what he told Ian. But Ian was like, well, dang, I just put it on you. You should be knocked out. But then he's like, don't even worry about them. You are the greatest guy ever, and you're going to be great, and, I'm definitely in your corner, so you ain't got nothing to worry about. And then they start, kissing and everything. I'm like, wow. The funny thing about it, you in love with Chadwick, but according to Chadwick, you're just a side piece, the same way that Baron viewed you. So, yet again, you are number 2, not number 1. So it's like Ian's just kind of repeating the same thing with Chadwick, but I still think he's still trying to stick it to Baron. He's just now going about it a different way. So we just have to keep watching and see what's going to happen. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But subscribe to drtbtv.com. If you not have already done so, you need to do it now because this show is awesome, and I was so here because I love Davenport Diaries, so I'm so here that it's back. Also, we got the Uglies coming out, and I'm so ready to watch this show, because it really is going to explore, people like me and many other people who kind of fall under the stereotype of no fats, no femmes. Laughable as far as I'm concerned. Because I think people are people, and you should choose a person for who they are, not based off of other things. But people do. It is what it is. You like what you like. I'm not knocking people for that, but I'm just saying that a show like this is very much needed in the gay community because we need to be enlightened and we need to look at people in a higher sense. So, yeah, we got that coming out. And then also, Check out the Triangle Fan Club on Facebook. You know, shout out to Rick Hollaboy, Lindsay Wagner, Andrea Parker. You know, love you guys. You know, they are really holding it down over there at the Triangle Fan Club. So definitely check out the Triangle Fan Club. You get a lot of the updated information. You get a lot of, you know, information, as well as, you know, comments from the cast and crew and also fans. And you also get updates from the creator, Cesar Williams. So yes, brtbtv.com and the Triangle Fan Club. And I will have the brtbtv link in the description box. Also, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell to get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I will also have those listed in the description box as well. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Davenport Diaries. It's going to be lit, y'all. I can't wait. So until next time, everybody, take care.